で、給食を通じてですね、食への関心を高めてもらって正しい食習慣を身につけることを目的としています。自慢できるところは最新の設備と地域人材の活用だと思っています。最新の学校給食衛生管理基準に対応したですね、衛生的な設備と、あと空調の設備と、職員が働きやすい環境であります。皆さん、児童生徒のために一生懸命働いていただいておりまして、そうですね、こちらの施設の原動力の一つとなっています。
Work in the kitchen begins at 5:30 a.m. with hundreds of volunteers cutting vegetables and peeling steamed potatoes by hand. During Baba Milan, 2,500 volunteers need to help prep and cook the festival meals. But that isn't something Banu Prakash, who's head of the bread department, is worried about.
तो कितनी भी सेवा होती है तो हम देखते हैं कि समय पे सेवा के जो सहयोगी है वो भी मिल जाते हैं.
The cut vegetables are loaded onto crates and wheeled into the main kitchen, where they're washed again in large metal containers and strained. All of the vegetables the kitchen uses are seasonal and bought directly from farms. And the food is prepared following the Sattvic diet, or the Yogi diet, which is rooted in Ayurvedic practices. Today the chefs are cooking rajma, vegetable sabzi, chapatis, and teplas. While most of the prep work is done by hand, some vegetables are processed using machines. Crates of tomatoes are pureed and spinach is chopped finely. On the other side of the kitchen, another team uses that tomato puree to make a sauce. They pour 5 liters of peanut oil into a giant pot. Then they mix in whole wheat flour, curry powder, handfuls of cumin seeds, asafoetida, bay leaves, and chili powder. Buckets of pureed tomatoes are poured inside and tossed together with garam masala, a common Indian spice mixture. The chefs then scoop the sauce out with buckets and place it into large metal containers so that it can be delivered to another section of the kitchen. The tomato sauce is rolled to chef Nilesh Bahi, who has been working here for 17 years and is in charge of making rajma, a curry dish made with kidney beans.
है ना, वैसे मैं राजस्थानी हूँ लेकिन यहाँ आकर ही मैं इतना राजमा जो बनता है यहीं सीखा और मैं बनाता भी हूँ अभी, मेरा फेवरेट है. तो काश मैं राजमा बहुत दिल से बनाता हूँ.
He soaks the kidney beans for 10 to 12 hours before boiling them in this pot for 3 hours. Once they're cooked, Nilesh uses a small scooper to examine the beans' tenderness and gauge the broth consistency. When the beans pass the test, he tips the pot and scoops in 400 kilograms of the tomato sauce. He then fills the pot with more water so it achieves the same consistency he had before the tomatoes. This is something Nilesh determines with his eye. On the side, he mixes oil, cumin, coriander, garam masala, asafoetida, gram flour, and chili powder into a bucket. He then pours this into the pot and adds salt. After he adds the first round of spices, he tastes the rajma and decides if it needs more flavor. Once Dinesh approves of the taste, he mixes in finely chopped spinach.
और जो आप देखेंगे बर्तन, जो आप उसका कैपेसिटी 1200 लीटर का है, उस बर्तन में हम लोग जब पूरा भर के बर्तन बनाते हैं, उसमें 7000 लोगों का दाल या राजमा बन जाता है पूरा.
Cooking all of this food requires an immense amount of energy. Since 1990, the kitchen has used a concentrated solar array on top of its roof to heat water and generate steam, which can be used to cook most of the food the kitchen makes. The cooked rajma is drained through a spigot into smaller containers, which are then covered and wheeled to the dining halls. One of the most important dishes made in the kitchen is sabzi, a mixed vegetable dish that varies depending on the vegetables available that day. Cooks heat oil in a massive pot along with cumin seeds, curry leaves, and asafoetida. Next, they add turmeric, cut chilies, and chopped bottle gourd. They mix everything together before adding in chopped potatoes, garlic gourd, and cauliflower. Then they add water and season the mix with salt and chili powder. Next come green beans, a pot full of tomato sauce, peas, cut green bell peppers, and shredded carrots. It's finished off with a generous amount of salt. Like every other dish this kitchen serves, the vegetables are taste tested and seasoned accordingly during the cooking process. Once the chef at hand gives the flavor a thumbs up, the mixture is cooked back into the metal pots and wheeled to the dining halls. Bread is essential to every meal. The bread department at the Shantivan complex can make up to 26,000 flatbreads every hour. To do so, bakers first pour 50 kilogram bags of flour into mechanical sifters to remove large clumps of flour.
तो ऐसे 200 केजी आटा हमको 10 मिनट में ये मशीनें गूंद के देती है.
The sifted flour is then taken to mechanical mixers where different types of dough are made. Today, the bread department is making two types of flatbreads, chapatis and teplas. The tepla dough is made by combining water, whole wheat flour, turmeric, chili powder, ground spinach, and fenugreek seed. Once mixed, the dough is wheeled to volunteers who use their hands to roll it into palm-sized balls. These balls are then brought to a team of 200 rollers who flatten them so they can be cooked. Chefs rub the flattened teplas with ghee and slap them onto flat griddles to cook. Together, this team can make 20,000 teplas an hour. On the other side of the bread department, machines are used to make chapatis without fillings. The dough is top-loaded into machines, which chop, flatten and bake it into crispy chapatis.
ये एक मशीन एक घंटे में 2000 चपाती अपने को बना के देती है. ऐसी 7 मशीनें अपने पास है, तो 14000 चपाती एक घंटे में मशीन से बनाई जाती है.
Like everything else that gets cooked here, the breads are placed inside metal containers to keep warm and wheeled to the dining halls for guests. In the dining halls, the rajma is served with rice, chapatis, and bhindi masala, a side dish made of okra and spices. During Baba Milan, the Hindu god Shiva, who is recognized as the father of souls, is believed to visit practitioners.
तो बाबा मिलन का मतलब शिव बाबा हमारे यहाँ पे एक साकार मीडियम के अंदर साकार शरीर में आते थे.
सब बाबा के बच्चे, बाबा का भंडारा है, वो भरपूर रहता है, कभी खाली नहीं रहता, सबके लिए फ्री.
Many of the devotees have been coming here for years.
17 वर्षों से हम परमात्मा के साथ मिलन मना रहे हैं. हमें बहुत अच्छा यहाँ फील होता है. जिस सुख शांति के लिए लोग बाहर जाते हैं वो हमें यहाँ प्राप्त होता है. सिर्फ हम नहीं, यहाँ पर हजारों भाई बहन आकर लाभ लेते हैं.
उसके पीछे के भाव है कि यहाँ हर एक व्यक्ति जो आ रहा है वो अपने जीवन को श्रेष्ठ करने के लिए आ रहा है, मन की शांति के लिए आ रहा है.
Imbuing the food with positive intention is one of the biggest responsibilities during the cooking process.
तो जैसे हम सोचते हैं तो हमारी सोच से हमारी वृत्ति बनती है, और जैसे हमारी वृत्ति होती है वैसे वाइब्रेशंस बनते हैं. भोजन में वो वाइब्रेशंस बढ़ते हैं तो खाने वालों के ऊपर भी उसका इफेक्ट बनता है. ये जो भाव और भावना है यही इस भोजन को स्पेशल बनाते हैं. नहीं, भोजन बनता है तो यहाँ देखा जाता है कि ये जो भोजन हम बनाते हैं तो हमारा ये लक्ष्य रहता है कि ये भोजन खा के सब खुश हो जाए और हमको दुआएं दे।
Daily, I'm preparing at least about 3,500 to 4,000, at least for breakfast. Our head count goes up for lunch, so we automatically feeding at least 4,500.
So that's some good pasta right there.
We need a balanced, nutritious meal. This is the powerhouse right here. So this is where we provide you those meals that is going to allow you to get up and be the best that you can be for that day.
Business Insider spent 2 days with Slagle's staff as they prepared for the largest meal of the day, lunch, while following a color-coded system intended to encourage service members to make healthier choices. The 3 main courses are 600 pounds of ginger pot roast, 1,400 pounds of Bombay chicken, and 210 pounds of cheese tortellini with marinara. There's also an assortment of vegetables, short order food, and a salad bar that feeds 4,000 to 4,500 trainees in just 90 minutes. Personnel from all branches of the military train at Fort Sam Houston, many of them at the Medical Education and Training Campus. In 2013, the dining facility was named in honor of Sergeant First Class Wayne Slagle, a distinguished Army combat medic.
And mashed potatoes? Thank you. Gravy? Oh yes, ma'am. I can definitely make my day.
I come here about 3 times a day. It's included in my BAS, so might as well. The experience is really cool. All the staff are very nice. I've built a bond with a couple of them, especially for being here for so long, so it's just nice to see those familiar faces here.
Slagle serves about 66,000 meals each week, about 35,000 to Army soldiers, 18,000 to Navy sailors, and 13,000 to Air Force airmen. All trainees are required to dine at Slagle for lunch Monday through Friday. To prepare the meal in time for 4,500 trainees,